Oh yeah, awesome. So everyone is here. Guys, we're gonna start with a quick round of intros. Keep it short, less than a minute, and to the point. Actually, you know what? Let's add some kind of a fun fact about yourself or your company, so we keep it fun and light during the intro. And let's have a good conversation. So let's start with the intros. Max from Libera, for example, please.
Yeah, hi. Good morning from the U.S. I'm on my way to Bitcoin Nashville today. I guess the fun fact about me, which is relevant to that, is that I travel too much. Everybody likes to give me a hard time about that, but it's just something I really enjoy to do, is to go to as many countries as I can. And that kind of links into the name of the company, which is Libera Global. So we have big aspirations, but yeah, and so I have 2,000 Marriott nights, which Marriott receptionists sometimes find amusing, but it's quite a lot. So that's a little bit about me.
All right, then in a sentence, what is Libera?
Yeah, we make $1 trillion of invisible commerce visible by helping small merchants in emerging markets sell their data.
All right, awesome. So we'll dig more into that later. So Max, who travels too much from Libera, Ash from Laika, please.
Hey, my name is Ash. I'm the CEO and the founder of Laika AI. So quite similar to what Libera's founder has said about traveling. I have traveled to about 25 countries, 35 cities in more than 4 continents so far. And travel has been my big passion. So that's a little bit about me, about my company Laika. So in one line, we are on our way to become the um, you know one of the first DApp that is probably going to replace Google when it comes to token search. So you will not be searching tokens on Google anymore. You'll be searching on Like AI very soon.
All right, very interesting. Curious to know how it differs, from example, from CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, right, where you can also search for tokens.
Absolutely. Yep. I will share.
All right, awesome. We'll do that after the intros. And finally, we have Tzahi from Kima Network. And you're muted right now. Tzahi from Kima, you're muted. All right. Just try to maybe leave and rejoin. We'll keep on going with Laika and Libera for now, I guess. So Tzahi, I hope you can. We can hear you soon from either Kima account or your own. Please, just when you manage to speak, just feel free to interject, and you'll join the discussion. So in the meantime, we're gonna start. So the title today is the supercharging effect of AI on crypto usability. So pretty much, how much does AI help make crypto more usable, make crypto easier, more friendly? Is it really useful? Because sometimes, for example, ChatGPT, we can think it's useful, but it can give you bad answers, right? It does happen. So how do you guys, Libera and Laika, how much does AI help you make crypto, more friendly for people?
Yeah, I'm happy to take a stab at that, Alex. Yeah, I think for us, there's a little bit of complexity in it, but basically building our own AI using knowledge graph technology allows us to give insights to our users that are accurate, where we can really leverage big data analytics to create a very concise conversational interaction with our users, powered by the decentralized knowledge graph that we are building. So I think it has to be architected in the right way in order to not give hallucinations and to give useful insights. And then usability is, of course, then very important, but that actually becomes in a way almost easier with the type of AI tech that's possible today. So, for example, allowing a store owner to say, "Hey, what should I put in my store?" And then we analyze the sales in the region and then give that in a conversational local language advice to that user. So that's kind of how we're looking at it.
So I'll go next. So what we're doing, I think I need to start from the beginning so that I can help it explain it better. So when we look at AI in the Web2 space and the magic that they have been able to create has happened primarily because there was a lot of data that was captured and indexed by Googles and the Bings of the world in the last 2 decades. And AI was able to ride on the algorithm that they built to read that data in perpetuity and then answer your questions. Sometime wrong, which I agree, but mostly it's a lot useful for people to use AI to get those answers than doing a Google search, right? So what we have done in Laika is we realized the potential of AI and we wanted to merge the two technologies that I think is the best technologies of a lifetime. One is blockchain and the other is AI. So we started collecting the blockchain data because that was not available for a chat GPT or a GPT-4 to read because the blockchain data was stored in blockchains and Web2 crawlers were not able to access it. So we started working with these different blockchains and started indexing that data onto one platform, which is like a AI DApp, right? In the last 18 months or so, we have partnered with more than 18 blockchains and indexed over 2.5 million smart contracts and trained the AI models that we are in fine tuning those models so that this data can be read by AI. Now, once this data is read by AI, AI can answer those questions which were unable to answer if you're going to ask ChatGPT. And I'll give an example of a question. For example, if you want to understand, let's say you want to know what are the top 10 chain link holders are buying or selling today, right? If you assume chain link holders are smart people and the top 10 holders must have been doing something right to figure out the best tokens, that can't be done on Web2 space. That can't be done by ChatGPT. But that can be done on Laika AI platform because Laika AI platform can read these blockchains now, right? And if you can read the blockchains, you can answer any question that is on chain. And that is what we are trying to achieve. We're trying to really, really merge these technologies in a useful way where our users can get a meaningful insight. Whether they make a decision to buy something on that or not is up to them. But we want to make sure that we create a level playing field for retail users compared to or vis-a-vis the more institutional guys who have a team of analytics people to give them a meaningful insight. So that's how we're bringing AI and making it more usable in Web3 space.
All right, sounds good. So can you give us concretely an example of questions that, we can ask and have an answer on Laika?
So right now we are at version 5 of our product. Currently, you can ask any question that to help you build your knowledge on the any of the tokens that are available in the market. You can ask a question like, "Hey, can you tell me how do I transfer ETH from Arbitrum to Manta, for example?" Right? And our chatbot will give you step-by-step answer how you can do that, right? Or you can ask about, can you tell me something about Ethereum? Can you tell me something about any other token, right, which is on the ETH network? So all of these questions can be asked, and any other question that comes to your mind to understand the basic knowledge about these tokens. In the version 6 that we're launching in about 15 days' time, you will be able to ask even more deeper questions. For example, if you ask something like, can you tell me more about Ethereum? Our AI bot will give you a trading view chart of Ethereum along with some fundamental analysis. It will scrape Web2 and find out the most recent relevant articles that has been written about Ethereum. It will also scrape Twitter to give you the best feeds in which people have talked about Ethereum, and you can customize that feed to say, I only want to hear from accounts which has more than 100,000 followers, or I only want to hear accounts which are verified. So, and obviously the chatbot will give you some knowledge about Ethereum, something to start with. Now, this is just a very simple question to say, tell me something more about Ethereum. Now, imagine adding the complexity to say, hey, can you tell me the trading volume on this particular DEX for Ethereum coin in last 24 hours? Or something like, can you create a chart for me on a 1 week time frame with MACD built in there? So all of these things that you were supposed to do yourself now can be done with the help of AI, which will aid into you making financial decisions, if you like, or just build your knowledge, right? Or just to understand how Web3 works. Our extension already boasts about 16 to 18,000 daily active users. So people are already using it. And the version 6 is going to be even more drastic changes in terms of what you can do with the functionalities that we have built. And we are adding more and more AI assisted facilities. And just to give an example, which is already there and existing and working right now, is a revoke feature. So we all understand revoke feature is very important to remove unwanted contracts from your wallets, right? But what Laika AI dApp does is it gives you a probability of which smart contracts can hurt you. So, for example, if you have 15 smart contracts, it will align the smart contract with the probabilities saying this is a 100% scam. Please remove it. And this one has a 5% probability of hurting you, which could be a very good smart contract like a Uniswap, right? So so AI is actually helping you decide what to do. Whether you do it or not is going to be up to you, but you can actually use AI with this help. And all in all our functionalities, uh, we are merging AI in a way that can really help you save time on these things.
All right, pretty clear. And so do you have like people who ask questions daily on Laika then?
Yes, we do. So we have people returning over every day. So we have about 120,000 downloads. So 1 in 5 people who have downloaded the app comes back on an app every day to either use a chatbot or use the wallet analytics feature or use the wallet tracking feature or smart contract analytics. There's so many things that people can do on our platform. And they do. We don't store personal data. So it's absolutely easy for you to come and use it. You don't even need to connect your wallet if you don't want to use the app. It's Chrome Store approved. It's Google approved app. So you can use it safely. And if you want to connect your wallet, we allow about 400 Web3 wallets to get connected to the app. And then you can utilize swap feature where we have about 18 chains that you can select and swap between. And just a reveal, we are going to integrate CCIP very soon. So you will be able to utilize Chainlink CCIP feature on swapping as well, which will make swapping tokens a breeze for most Web3 users.
Nice. All right. Tzahi, by any chance, can you unmute yourself or not? Let's see. Oh yeah, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I hope
Welcome.
now it's better. Thanks a lot.
Nice
Thanks a
to
lot,
have you.
guys. Same here. Thank you. And thank you for your patience, right? Took me some time to log in.
Hey, you're here now. So please give us a quick introduction.
Okay, great. So I'm Tzahi. I'm one of the co-founders of Kima. We have both Kima Finance and Kima Network. Basically, Kima Network is more into our crypto solutions, and Kima Finance is more into the more traditional Web2 finance. Kima is, in one sentence, is a settlement layer or money transfer protocol. And from tech perspective, we are an L1 on Cosmos SDK. And what we know how to do is to do settlement. So we can do settlement between blockchains, and we know how to do settlements also with Web2. For example, banks, i.e. fiat solutions, real-world assets, cards, all in a decentralized way and without smart contracts. So our solution is very robust. Our connection, of course, we work with a lot of AI tools and projects, but internal Kima, the main usage for AI is our rebalancing algorithms. which are meant to calculate the needed liquidity on every pool, on every blockchain, and for every solution. And based on that, calculate the fees to charge or the bounty to give to liquidity providers in order to rebalance. So Kima is 3 years already and developing, and in 2 months we'll do our TG. So thanks again.
Got it. And how do you use AI?
So, like I said, what Kima is controlling in a decentralized ways pools. So a pool can be what we know from the regular crypto, but in Kima, a pool, crypto pool, it's EOA, meaning it's a regular address, no smart contracts. So, for example, let's say you're on Solana and we're talking about USDC, doesn't matter. So there's amount of USDC in this pool. Now we have pools like this on many places. And now, according to demand and supply, we need to rebalance because people are using different pools on different times, different quantities, different usages. And we need to calculate, or let's say we need to rebalance. Now, how to rebalance, you can do in many ways, but the best way is to have a decentralized algorithm, AI algorithm in this case, that will share with all the external world that for a specific pool, we have these fees. If you want to, if we need liquidity, then we'll give a bounty there. And then the amount of bounty is going up as much as we need more liquidity, and vice versa. If you just send liquidity to a place we don't need, then we charge a fee. And the algorithms are all the time calculating. So the calculation can be very, very simple, like taking a look at the past, but also the main idea is that to learn and to understand what to expect and do it in a more complicated way. I can discuss it a lot, but I think main idea is this.
Got it. Sounds good. So, would you say there's any traps with AI that maybe you discovered when trying to build that, people think, AI can be the solution to everything, but actually there's some places where, traditional tech is better?
Now AI is really hyped, right? So there's a lot of solutions that are doing, you can say maybe more or less the same, but every tech solution has its risks. And every tech solution has its pros and cons, right? Like we say, okay, we love crypto. Why? I'm holding a private key. Great, but it's also a huge risk. So is it good or bad? Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So same for AI. I think because it's very new, let's take for example, AI agents. If you ask me, I don't mind to send $100 into specific staking, everything done by AI. Okay, save me time. The risk is $100. I don't care. But if I'm a fund, if I'm a regulated fund, I can never do it like this or until it's proven. So I think main thing to take a look at AI right now is we are just starting to explore it. So see what is working, what is less working, what are the risks, etc. In Kima, for example, yes, we use AI, but we always use, if you want to call it like this, traditional tools to validate, to make sure that if we've done it like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, this is still matching. So simple, old school job, Python, data science, really taking a look and make sure that we understand what's going on there.
Got it. And what about when it comes to hiring people, right? AI is obviously quite niche skill in a way. I mean, depending on how specific you want to go. So when it comes to hiring, how do you
Mhm.
go about finding the best AI people, or maybe the best compromise in terms of price versus skill?
I think I
Wow.
can take on. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think hiring is a challenge, for a lot of things. So in AI, it's same because it's very new. Because you don't find someone with a lot of experience. You can see it when you talk, for example, about blockchain developers. So some technologies you have people with, like like smart contracts on Ethereum. It's really easy, right? Currently, it become very easy. But looking about different, you go to Cardano, it's difficult to find good devs, and there are not enough, and there is not a lot of experience. I think same here. So I'm coming from more traditional. I've been a long years in development, in technology. So I take a look a lot about the knowledge, even theoretical knowledge of the developer or the AI person in order to understand his potential. Take a look at project he works, take a look at the code. We do very deep, but still, it's also a challenge from perspective of personality. So hiring good people is always a challenge.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it's not as simple as going out and getting an AI engineer or even just an AI CTO. You need really more than one thing if you want to do enterprise data, artificial intelligence, which is what we're doing. Your lead technology team members need to be committed to the company, basically co-founder level, and we're fortunate to have that in Ahmed, our CTO. But then when you go out and you want to apply your technology in certain markets, you need something else. So you might need, for example, Indonesian proficient data scientists, and they could be a little bit less experienced. Whereas your technology leadership need to have real quality training, education, and experience in applied artificial intelligence and applied data engineering, which is a much harder thing to find than somebody that's has 1 to 2 years of data science experience. Though that latter case is something that was also really tough years ago, but it's becoming a little bit easier based upon interest and demand for AI talent. So I think that it's one part of it is your tech leadership and architecture, and then the resources that you use to really build and localize the technology in specific markets.
All right, makes a lot of sense, Max. We're about halfway here, so we could go several ways. We might have some questions from the audience at some point. So we've talked a bit about hiring. We've talked a bit about how you guys use AI. We've talked about where, AI is not useful. I'm really more curious about how specifically you use AI. You guys use AI at different points, right? Max, it's more for merchants. Laika, it's more making sense of data. Well, Max, so Libera and Laika, you both are making sense of data. And Kima, you use it maybe slightly differently. So we could talk maybe about data, right? Because you can have the best AI. If you don't have the right data, then it's useless. So, Laika or Libera, if you want to expand on that.
No, you're absolutely correct. I think, and that's a very good point and a very good question itself. I think it's really, really important because if you feed garbage, you'll get out only garbage, right? So it's garbage in, garbage out if you don't have the right data, or at least you don't have correct information being fed to the AI. I think there are a couple of ways to look at it. One is where you're capturing your data from. Are you capturing your data stream directly from sources that you can vouch for, For example, when we look at blockchain data, we directly get it from blockchains, and we have partnered with the likes of Arbitrum and Manta and Linea and Scroll, and we directly get data from their servers, right? So that's one way of verification of the data to make sure you have the correct data in place. And once you have the correct data, AI will obviously produce results which are far more accurate compared to if there is an algorithmic issue in terms of processing data. Other than that, when you look at public data, you need to also make sure that the public data is correct and it's captured in a format that AI can read it, right? Because sometimes the data is so unstructured that it can completely mess up your results. So while training your models, we need to keep making sure that the data is indexed properly. Otherwise, even the correct data can be interpreted in a very different way. So I think what we do is we concentrate on the source of data a lot more, and we concentrate on training the model to make sure that the results are right. I think this is the approach that we have kind of set up for ourselves.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I think in the Libera case, the industry that we operate in is retail data and retail data analytics. And the leading Web2 provider in this space, which is Nielsen, has a big gap in the market, in that they generally do not have data from smaller stores. And most people in emerging markets, most companies perceive that data is very difficult to get and that it is not trusted, and that they do not trust even the Nielsen data that they get, which is in a really a centralized model. And when you start sourcing data on a decentralized model, it gives you an option to provide increased traceability and therefore trust around the data itself. And that's an interesting opportunity that really Web3 and AI convergence has to deliver to specific industries, including the one in which we operate. So when you deploy a reward token, for example, the Libera token to a merchant, it's kind of like, you can explain it as an airline miles type of reward system, but it is more traceable than if an airline, American Airlines, gives me through One World Alliance, Cathay Pacific, Asia miles, and I then use those down the road. It's very few people that can really figure out what I do with my Cathay Pacific miles or my Marriott points. Whereas a decentralized system allows you to say, hey, we can show that the buyers of the data and the users of the data distribute economic incentive back to the community, and that can be shown to everyone, and it enhances the trust around data itself. So that's really a game changer and a differentiation point that I think Web3 entities and Web3 innovators can use to deliver more value to their clients.
Got it. And do you guys have any specific costs associated with gathering AI, or does it come from partnerships?
Yeah, partnerships is important for us. It's an increasing focus that we have because we have some core tech that other people in the space, in the industry, don't have. And when you look at data in a collaborative way, it opens up ways to partner that are maybe not initially apparent if you're living. If you're just a supply chain operator or a distributor, you just think about your own business and your own supply chain, how you're moving products to market. But if you really think about the data problems and the solutions that more data can provide to multiple actors in a supply chain ecosystem, then you start to think about it a little bit differently. And so a partnership approach, if you've got a good core AI tech, can really open up a lot of interesting doors. And so that's kind of more the way we're starting to think about things, is in terms of working with data partners in addition to traditional clients and users.
In our case, I think we've been very fortunate to have forged a lot of partnerships. And one of the first partnership that we got was from Covalent, where we got a data agreement with them, which kind of took a lot of cost away initially. And then later on, we were incorporated in the Google GCP program, and which has taken up a lot of our cost in terms of experimenting with their emerging Vertex AI technology, and they also help us with the cost on storage and compute. So a lot of our costs have been actually exported to our partnerships, but yes, there's a lot of cost involved with compute, and the way we are growing, it's going to start hitting us pretty soon. But for now, I think for at least for next 2 years, Google has taken up that infra cost for us.
Well, nice for you. What about you, Kima? Do you have any topics when it comes to data and AI and acquiring it?
Just jumping in quickly, and want to allow Kima to come in as well. But really, our Web2 competition generally use cash to acquire data from users, and really having a digital asset linked to data allows a different mechanism for that cost to be managed, and that means we don't have to raise money from VCs and spend most of it acquiring users. We can leverage our own digital asset infrastructure to achieve that goal. So that changes and optimizes our customer acquisition costs, and in addition to giving benefits to our users, clients, and partners. So again, that's an area where I think there's a little bit more effort, obviously, to build out the Web3 infrastructure, and there is cost associated with that, and build time and cost, but it gives some strength to us that I think long term provides a better really cost advantage, in addition to some of the user benefits that I mentioned. So the costs are there, and I think data costs are always there, data management, cloud infrastructure costs, but those are obviously going in one direction. So hopefully becoming more manageable for everyone. So the key area of competitive advantage is how you can optimize data acquisition costs as opposed to data holding and management costs.
All right. Kima, do you want to touch a word on data and AI, and possibly, data that you need, the data set, and also the data that AI can generate for you, how you can also, have more valuable data?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think in Kima case, the challenge of data is less than in pure AI solutions where they need huge amount of data. Basically, we are looking at data from blockchains, usually relatively simpler data. And basically, we are calculating it for our internal needs. So the complexity of the data itself, it's also, let's say, much more reduced. So from this perspective, I think Kima use case is one of the easiest in the data part. But still, it's complex, it's expensive, it's challenging, and not only from cost of data or usage of data, but also from knowledge of data scientists. Data on blockchain is not as simple as people think, especially to make the connections between different protocols to understand that it's the same basically, or how to compare it, how to see that these two, let's say, for example, two dexes are doing the same, it's the same pairs, or it's the same root. So this is more or less the same market activity. But just to summarize, I think data itself, like from quantity, Kima case is easy, but from other hand, we still make a lot of connections. We need to do a lot of investigations ourselves.
All right. And Libera and Laika, maybe Libera especially, do you want to talk about how much more valuable the data is after you apply AI to it to make sense of it?
Well, I think there just isn't much of as much of a market for raw data as opposed to data with analytics, and especially data with easy to use analytics. So, there are only so many, companies and enterprises that have advanced data lake infrastructure, and they can directly ingest raw data from the markets that they serve to achieve the analytics goals that they want. That's maybe the Unilever or 1 out of 100 that really have that level of sophistication. What's more common is there are many more companies that want data and they want insights, but they want an easy way to use it. And then you have business intelligence tools, which everybody's been using for so many years, and that just really gives you your historical view on things, but not so much predictive analytics. So easy to use predictive analytics is increasingly possible even with conversational interfaces. So then you go into Libera app and you say, hey, what are the products that are selling best and that are most in demand in this part of my country, or this part of Jakarta, or this part of Karachi, for example, and then getting those insights back. And then what we're hearing from clients is that they want that data faster than before. So if you're in the dairy industry and you're getting data 4 weeks after you've moved product to the store, you don't care anymore because you've lost the shelf life for your products. You need data much more quickly. So fast and easy to use is data insights is what companies want. And in order to get that, you need infrastructure and applications that are usable and useful, not just raw data on its own.
I see. And do you have a framework for putting a price on that data? How does it work?
The framework that we're seeing functional in the market is that there is a certain price level that to a certain extent companies have been paying for monthly data insights. And then there's a higher price point that they are willing to pay for recent data, almost subscribing to or having the data streamed to them. And that is, something like 10x what they were paying for raw data. And then if the data is useful and it is linked to easy to understand insights, then it becomes more actionable for their business. Then it's actionable to drive increased sales and reduce lost sales and make business decisions that really have a key impact on market share and profitability. And then for, billion-dollar corporations that have a 20% contribution margin on their product sales, that's pretty important stuff. And, there are very sizable budgets available for that, in contrast to what people were paying 5 years ago for monthly or quarterly data, because that was all they could get.
Got it. And actually, how much does bringing AI in your conversations with partners, clients help, compared to if you were able to provide the same service without it? How much, of the hype, the halo effect of AI, how much does it help?
Yeah, I think we're seeing it as a board directive in almost every corporation in consumer packaged goods, fast-moving consumer goods, and retail. And then that trickles down into different departments and areas of the company to use AI as advanced analytics in some way. So it's even from when I originally started the company, and people said, "What are you talking about? AI for Indonesia? It's just not gonna happen." And then everybody said, "Well, we got to have the AI for Indonesia." So I think it's there, and then companies are becoming the budgets are starting to be there, and the people are starting to almost expect it to be used, and that's part of kind of the curve, like with the Gartner hype cycle, where you have early adoption, followed by it becomes almost commoditized and expected. So I think we're still relatively early in terms of enterprise adoption of AI, and there's a lot more to come. And before Libera, I ran sales at a supply chain AI company where I met my co-founder and our CTO. And at that time, this was a few years back, but basically the people, the CEO there had a slide he was using to pitch to investors, where basically said that B2C data is worth trillions, and Alphabet, Google, and Facebook and Instagram are some of the leaders in consumer data. And now we're just barely starting to understand how valuable B2B data is. And it's much more fragmented, with SAP having, 3 to 4% of the market or so. And it's about 50 times bigger. So some of the most valuable companies in the global economy will be created in the enterprise data space, with B2B data fueling it. And so you can start to see just how we're really early days on that, just tip of the iceberg on the potential of B2B data and AI for enterprises to run their colossal supply chains.
Anyone want to comment on that?
I want to add something on this. I think there is a bit of hype to AI. That's correct, but there's a lot of ways that people have retired to the fact that it's only happening because of the hype, and there's not as much substance behind it. And I have a slightly opposite view to that. I think AI has right now made it road into the knowledge economy, which means anyone who is using a laptop to work or to provide insights or provide meaningful intelligence can utilize AI. And that's why a lot of companies want to utilize AI to reduce their uh, cost on resources, and they want to invest in it. But I think as soon as AI starts to make its way into the hardware economy, I think that's where the true potential will come out. And I want to give a very um, hypothetical and slightly controversial example here. Um, I think with help of AI, we are going to change how wars are fought in this world, especially when it comes to nations who have a high tech war machinery vis-a-vis nations who have a low tech war machinery. And what we have seen in a recent war between Russia and Ukraine, utilization of drones to fight the tanks. And those drones could have only been used with the help of AI. Imagine an army of drones run by AI can actually change the makeup of a war, even if the other side has big tanks and big missiles and stuff like that. I, along with machines, this is going to change if even if war is needed, because any nation can compete with any nation, so it will act as a deterrent much more than what nuclear heads did, right? Uh, so imagine the use cases going up from knowledge economy into the hardware economy. Today in China, there are factories that run 24 cross 7 without a single human intervention. And that's happening today. And they're moving much more faster in the machine space than probably the Western world right now, right? And imagine your factory's running 24 hours, you're building stuff, and you don't have human requirement. You don't have to close down factory after 10 hours because you need rest. AI doesn't need rest. Machines don't need rest. So there is a lot of potential that is untapped. Even in the hype, it is untapped. because we in Web3 space specifically really hype something up and then put it down very fast as well. I think that's where we need to change our mindset and see what can be done instead of is it just a hype? Because if you don't experiment with this, then we are obviously not going to get the use cases, and the experimentation has to keep expanding. And I think that's where the envelope needs to be pushed.
All right, so seeing through the hype, looking at concrete use cases, experimenting, I like it. We're about to wrap up. I would like you guys to already think about your outros. A reminder about your project, what you do, if you have any exciting news recently, any call to action if people want to know more, if they want to try out your product. So think about it. Maybe if there's someone who has a question, you can raise your hand. We might take 1 or 2 questions max. And so let's see if anyone want to come up. And maybe last question from myself, if no one has any, is very quickly, without going into too many details, right? What technology do you guys use specifically, right? Do you pretty much play Lego with, plugins and algorithms you find online on GitHub, maybe the open source, or do you build your own in-house tech?
Yeah, I'll take that one if it's all right. But just quickly about Libera, we are project supported by Animoca Brands, Singularity DAO, Gains. We're also a part of the Blockchain for Good Alliance with Bybit, and we are investing heavily in our own knowledge graph technology, which is really a decentralized knowledge graph around how retail data can be analyzed and processed. And I really think that's important to talk about. There are other companies in kind of similar space that are using generative AI to kind of build and operate their data models, and we just don't believe that that's effective. That we really need companies, in order to achieve quality insights for their users, need to have good control around their own data models, and that knowledge graph technology is a useful and in our case, relatively unique way to analyze that data and process it kind of the way the human brain processes things. Because when we think about things, we don't say, okay, let me check this relational database and then I'll check that relational database and extract the data and combine do the joins, and this is the output. You think about different things and process it. And that's really, when you look at very large data sets, knowledge graph technology allows you to think about that and get the insights a little bit similar to the way the human brain works. So more insights with less data is another way to look at it. So investing in our own decentralized knowledge graph technology is really important for Libera.
I'll take it the next one. So I think in our case, as I mentioned, we are big on experimentation. We are firm believer of the fact that if you want to roll down the hill, you don't have to build your wheel again. So we don't reinvent the wheel anywhere we don't have to. So on our data models, we are using and experimenting with Llama 3, with Vertex AI, which is from Google, and GPT-4. And we're building our own RAG by fine-tuning these data models. And in some of the cases, we actually invented technology where, when it comes to answering questions, how do we assess wallets? How do we assess smart contracts? So for us, it's kind of a Lego set where we take what we can from the existing technologies and build where we can, so that we can give superior result to our audiences. And as I said earlier, we don't shy away from experimenting, and we do fail sometimes, but that's part of the game.
All right, guys, we're gonna do a quick round of outros. Kima, we haven't heard you much, so if you wanna let us know anything exciting you have going on these days, and any call to action if people want to use Kima somehow.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I was less active in this discussion. I think mostly because most of the guys here are 100% focused on AI, and Kima is a bit less. What Kima are currently focusing on a lot of different use cases related to interoperability or money transfer. So I'll just throw a few, but of course the first and very simple one is turning a DApp into a multi-chain, meaning they can accept funds from every chain seamlessly, no smart contracts, very easy integration, quick, cheap, secure. But this is the basic, and Kima is exploring a lot of other interesting use cases like multi-chain tokens without smart contracts. We are doing settlement of real-world assets. We are doing decentralized card, meaning you can have your own debit or prepaid card in a decentralized way. So you can send crypto to a pool dedicated to you, and then it's automatically charged in the card, but there's no really a middleman there. We are developing with MasterCard guys their innovation, something more into what we call decentralized bank account, where it means that it's a bank account can be controlled in a decentralized way. So this is only first thing that we're doing. Another thing I can give an example is what we call the DVP, meaning delivery versus payment. So basically you can have two parties using Kima in order to send assets and payment in a decentralized way. So idea is simple, right? I want to buy an asset from you, so you send the asset to a place, I send the money to a place, and then when both money and asset are there, then we do the exchange. Kima can do it in a decentralized way for real-world assets, for fiat. So I think this is the main interesting things that Kima is doing now. Maybe the last thing that I can mention is we do a decentralized BTC to WBTC. So any DApp can come use Kima in order to enable Bitcoin holders to put their Bitcoins in a decentralized way and use WBTC. And then when finishing, get back their Bitcoins. So that's it, guys. And thanks again for being here.
All right. Thank you, Tzahi, for Kima. So a few features you mentioned: settlements between real-world assets and crypto, settlements between blockchains, even a decentralized bank account. All right. Laika, Ash, a quick outro, please.
Just a quick thing. I wanted to reveal something on this one, as Gaines have been our big time supporter. So for outro, I want to mention that our data model is going to get listed on the GPT store on OpenAI very soon. So look forward to that. We might be helping OpenAI becoming more useful in the Web3 space with our data models getting listed on GPT store. Probably the first company in the Web3 space to do so. So follow us, look forward for these details, and look forward to our partnership with OpenAI.
All right. Awesome. And finally, Max from Libera.
Yeah, we're excited to announce some very big corporate deals on the way in some of the markets I talked about earlier in terms of buyers of our data. And working on our TGE, we have the first exchanges confirmed. So follow us on Twitter. We also have a whitelist coming up that will be announced where people can join, and stay tuned to get more information on the Libera TGE.
All right. Awesome. So TGA coming up. Guys, thank you for coming. Thank you for discussing AI and crypto today. Wish you all a great day, and I'll see you soon for more spaces.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.